Good evening, everyone. Welcome to LFC Transfer Room. I'm here tonight, joined by Patricio and Jonathan to discuss the latest developments around Liverpool Football Club. Lots and lots of news. And yes, sorry, Jace, we were running a bit late. It's pretty- yeah. Well, we're streaming. All three of us from three different countries, so it's like it got a bit of it got a bit took us a bit of time to get synchronized, I guess, but all good. Thankful for the internet, I guess. But yes, we have lots of conversations to kind of get into this evening. Lots of our young players, especially leaving on loans and on permanent deals as well. We're gonna talk a bit. Maybe we're gonna touch on Zubimendi if we have any other news. Hopefully, we're gonna get it. Here we go. Here live on chat, live on stream. Sorry, I said it yesterday as well. That I'm hoping I'm gonna get like this was my last working day of the week. I'm going to be off tomorrow and on Monday. So hopefully we're going to get an announcement and I can celebrate properly because I'm going to be off and I'm not going to work. Good evening to you too, Muse. Good to see you. Good to see you here as well. We are going to get into the Carvalho things. But first of all, before all that, I'm going to ask Patricio, how has his weekend been?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. Thank you for asking. Just a pretty chill weekend. Getting ready for to move home soon or on Monday, so gonna be busy then. But yeah, no. How was yours?
Yeah, pretty hectic. Hopefully hopefully this is gonna be like an omen for Zubimendi as well. He's gonna move homes pretty quickly as well. So who knows? Jonathan, mate, how was yours?
It's been really good. Nervous about the Zubimendi deal because it broke on Thursday and still haven't. It seems like one day, 1 hour it says yes, and the other it's maybe. But other than Liverpool related, it's been really good.
Good enough then. Good to have everyone. Yeah, and please like and subscribe everyone who's on YouTube. If you're over on Twitter on X, make sure to come over to YouTube. Leave your comments as well, and we'd love to have some of those integrated into these conversations that we're having. Obviously, if you've been watching this for a long time, you know that we're usually taking comments and stuff to kind of maybe tackle on even more topics than we were gonna we had in mind at the beginning of the stream. So uh yeah, fair enough. I'm in the same boat. I would have I said it yesterday as well. If it's not done by Sunday, then I don't think it's gonna get done anymore, because it's like with Liverpool, we don't really drag these deals too much. It's either it gets like a something comes out and then it just happens, or it just doesn't happen at all. I think one that I can remember that was different was Thiago. The one that I remember I really wanted it to happen, and then in the end it didn't really work out. But that's not really the point. Yeah, lots of comments already. Sorry, we're gonna try to get into those as well. So Muse, that's pretty much our first topic of the evening there. Well, not necessarily that question, but Carvalho in himself. So we know that Carvalho is now, it's not official, but it's as official as you can get with Fabrizio Romano announcing it on all over social media. Uh, so Carvalho was sold to Brentford in a deal close to, well, in a total of 27 million. We don't know if we're going to get all that or not, but he is going to leave Liverpool, as it's been hinted at for the this summer. I do not know how to feel about it, because it feels like every time we've counted on Fabio Carvalho, he did well for us. I never really thought he was bad. I mean, obviously, he wasn't the first team regular, but even in this summer, in the preseason, it feels kind of odd to sell a player that's been doing so well, and especially last season as well. I think in the beginning of the season, I think he left on loan, but then it kind of got out that it might have been like he might have had like a disagreement with Jurgen, and that was the reason why he left. And we were all thinking that maybe with when Jurgen announced that he was leaving, he was going to get a second chance, but apparently not. He is going to leave. Patricio, I am conflicted, because in one way, if that means we're going to get Zubimendi, then fine. but on the other hand, he was a really, really good option for that 10 role if we're going to play 4-2-3-1, isn't he? So now you're going to have someone like Elliot and Soboslai, but Carvalho has been good every time we've kind of called up on him, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, I liked him in pre-season. The way I think about it though is like we kind of said that if anything was to go between 20 and 25 million, that would sell him. I think the difficult thing is we have a lot of midfielders and a lot of left wingers, so he was going to struggle regardless. Especially how Gakpo played in the Euros, and well, if Diaz does stay, which it seems likely, obviously they're going to be starters over him. So on that left hand side, so I think he would have struggled to try fit in anyway. I think it was nice to see him during pre-season, and when he went out to Leipzig and had a bit of an attitude there, and then went to Hull, and you could see he wanted to improve. I was like, oh, this could be it. He could actually want to play for us, but it's just we're too saturated in those areas of the pitch. So if it's money that can be used for Zubimendi, then that would be nice. But yeah, I would have liked him to stay. But I just wish him the best if he does go.
Yeah, I think a club like Brentford could be really a really good, really good for his career. But we kind of have to get used to the thought that he might go there and absolutely smash it, which I don't think would surprise anyone because he really is that good. But yeah, we're gonna have to, obviously, as we've done it for the past few seasons, I'm going to trust in the people making these decisions because usually they kind of worked out for the best in the past. But Jonathan, we're gonna be left with Elliot and Soboslai for that 10 role because it looks like we're gonna play 4-2-3-1. With Carvalho, he could have played in midfield, he could have played as a 10, could have played as left wing, but not necessarily one of the top players in any of those positions, isn't he?
No, he never was for us, to be honest. But if we didn't have, if he didn't play during preseason and show that level he could have, I don't think we would have had these mixed feelings because he played really well in preseason. There's no doubt about that. But as I said a few weeks ago, if we get uh, almost 30 million for him, I don't see why not. We shouldn't sell him. It's good money, and we have a 17% sell-on clause. The player I'm more like nervous about we're selling is Bobby Clark because it looks like he's leaving to Salzburg with Pep. Uh, he showed good promise last season, and Carvalho he played good in preseason, played good in for Hull the last 6 months, but he was never going to take the spot from Soboslai, Diaz, Gakpo.
So yeah, it is. As indeed Muse said in the chat as well, and as Patricia just mentioned earlier, we do have lots of players in those positions. So it's not like it's not how you'd feel if we, for example, if we left Gomez go and something like that, because that's a position that we really would needed to improve. But leaving a midfielder go now, it doesn't necessarily seem that that much of a big deal. But it's more about obviously more about the player because it feels like it doesn't feel fair for the player mainly because he's been good, and whenever we had him, whenever we played him, he's been good and he didn't really disappoint, which is kind of our point. But yeah, we're gonna obviously we're gonna have to wait and see if we end up signing Zubimendi, we might feel a bit better about this whole thing. Yeah, but obviously we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on that front as well. So yeah, that's a good point as well. I feel like if you're gonna rank Soboslai, Elliot, and Carvalho, I think most of us would put Carvalho in third. So maybe that's one way to look at it as well. Yeah, and also one thing that I forgot to mention, we are going to have, for anyone who's been passionate about FPL, we're going to have a mini league with pretty much everyone, who's who wants to enter, who's been a subscriber, a follower, whatever else. If you want to enter the mini league, that's the code right there for that. We also have, one for the chat and the members of the stream. The reason I'm mentioning that is because I won last season, so congratulations me. Thank you. So let's move on to our next topic. We've seen Muse hinting at it as well. It seems like I'm curious how many are gonna guess Muse. That's like 2 out of 2 up until now. So we're gonna we have 2 more in mind. So we're gonna have to wait and see if we're gonna guess those 2 as well. Yeah, Bobby Clark is close to leaving Liverpool as well, in a move that's been very surprising, I feel, for many of us. In a way, I really didn't see this one coming. So I thought if we were going to leave Clark go, it was going to be obviously on loan. But apparently, we're going to leave him, or it looks like we might leave him go on a full transfer, which is pretty surprising, especially considering the other moves that we've been seeing. So we have seen that Koumas has been who's he going to, Stoke on loan?
Yes, I think it's Stoke. Yeah.
So excuse me to anyone who thinks I'm a bad host, but it's been so many names that I've read on Twitter and Teams, and it's like pretty difficult to keep count of all that. So Kumas is out on loan. Katie Gordon apparently might be going out on loan to Swansea, and that's another one right there. So it looks like Bobby Clark will leave on a full transfer, which we've discussed this one yesterday as well. Jonathan, it does look like we have a lot of young players, a lot of good young players. And again, in midfield, especially, we have players like, it was Bobby Clark, Morton as well, McConnell. It looks like we have lots and lots of good young players. We cannot keep them all, so maybe we shouldn't be that surprised when someone leaves. But Clark did look like he might be one of the best out of those, didn't he?
Yeah, personally, I think he should be the one that stays and fight for a place to get in the squad. If we sell him, I hope we at least include a buyback clause, so we have the opportunity to bring him back. Bajcetic also is looking to head out on loan. But I think if you would have asked me a week ago, who do you think is going to get sold between Bobby Clark, McConnell, and Morton? I would have said McConnell and Morton ahead of Clark, because in the Carabao Cup final last year, he looked sharp. When he had to step in and played a few games, he looked sharp. And it's surprising to see him go on a permanent, not on a loan. So I'm almost more disappointed to see him leave than Fabio.
Yeah, and and there's also lots of other young players that we haven't mentioned. It's Trainioni as well, Owen Beck, Doak, who's been someone who kept looking like he was going to have his breakthrough season, but just didn't happen for him up until now. There's lots of young players that we still have to kind of deal with and see who we keep, who goes on loan, who we're going to let go of permanently. So, Patricio, that is a pretty tough decision to make on all these young players. Obviously, some of that is on our staff, and they're going to decide obviously who they want to keep. And then on Richard Hughes, our new sporting director, who will have to see how these deals work, because leaving Clark go on a permanent deal for 6 million, as it's rumored, it seems a bit off, doesn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't expecting it. Like, I wasn't even expecting Fabio Carvalho as well to be sold. So yeah, it was a bit odd. I thought the younger players would be loaned out, but I can understand you want to have a pathway for like training onions and other players like that, other youth players. So I can understand why it's happened. But it was just a bit like Jonathan said, he was quite useful last season. Like in those cup games. So yeah, it was a bit of an odd one. to happen. But to be fair, maybe he'll be able to prove himself out in Salzburg. Yeah, just a bit odd.
Yeah, it's and when you look at it, it's it feels like maybe we could have, as you said, we could have kept some of these young players and have them at give him some minutes in the cups, because last few seasons we've loved the cup run, and if the draws are kinder to us, then we may allow them a lot more minutes than usual, but or even send them out on loan. With clubs like Salzburg, it feels like if Salzburg is getting is putting an offer in for Clark, it feels like that kind of shows you that they've also identified their potential, because with clubs like Salzburg, like Leipzig, basically with the Red Bull group, that they get young players in for really small sums of money. Like they're not really throwing money left and right. They usually pay very little for the players that they get, but they make huge profits on them as well, which kind of allows them to keep on building the clubs and growing them as well. So it kind of feels like if a club like Salzburg makes an offer for Clark for 6 million, you kind of know that they've also identified that potential right there, and he might be someone that you're gonna miss in the next in let's say 2-3 seasons. But as we've said, we do have a lot of players in those positions as well. So yeah, I wanted to answer to this question now. Me personally, I would, even if Zubimendi joins, I would keep both Endo and Bajcetic, and then maybe loan Morton. I still think that it could work out great for us if we'd have like 3 DMs, and then we have Bajcetic, who still needs minutes. I've seen the argument. Now I'm going to ask you guys as well, if you want to chip in on this one. I've seen people saying that we may need to loan Bajcetic for him to get some fitness in, to play like 20-25 games for the next season. But it feels like for me, I'd be a bit more confident, or let's say calm, in keeping him here with our medical squad and with our professionals, because they know him by now, and they know what to, basically how to manage him for the season. So Patricio, I'm just gonna put up the question from you, and I'm gonna let you answer it.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought I can see Endo staying, although what Slot seen with the 45 minutes of Endo, it didn't seem like he was too impressed with him, which I know is a bit odd, and obviously they would have been training as well. I actually wanted to keep Bajcetic, and I was actually quite excited to see him come back from injury, come back stronger, and have some good minutes this season. But so yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me as well, seeing him get loaned out. But it's good to see that we're willing to see him improve, get some more first team minutes, and then hopefully come back for us and be a good 6 or an 8. So yeah, I would have liked to have kept him, but with Morton, there's been rumours of him being loaned out as well, isn't there? So I wonder what's going on there as well. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens for the season, but I would have liked to have kept Bajcetic and possibly loan out Morton instead.
Yeah, it would have been, in my eyes, it would have been the correct way to handle things as well. But then, obviously, as I said, I think we have capable people in those positions. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one as well. Paul, I've seen your there it is. So we've seen this as well, but this source is pretty shit, so I would not be sure that would happen. But it is, however, there's a lot of rumors that Kelleher would be looking to leave, especially when you think that we are looking to sign a new goalkeeper. And that's what I want to ask you, Jonathan, as well. It looks like Liverpool are actually serious about the Georgian keeper Mamardashvili from Valencia. Looks like we could go for him. He's 23, I think, for 25 million. That looks like a pretty good buy, especially with the Euros that he's had. But that obviously begs the question, what happens with Kelleher? So your thoughts on all that?
I think he's a brilliant signing. He's open for the move, so we might not wait 5 days until we know what the player wants. uh, and he don't mind getting loaned out straight away to have that playing time. Uh, and I if we sell Keller, I'm confident that Yaros will step up as the second goalie. Uh, and if we need the third choice, Mamadashvili will get called back if we buy him. But it talks about buying him and then sending him out straight on loan. He will get game time in the Prem, and he can't keep a clean sheet against us, which is positive. So I think it's a brilliant signing, and hopefully it doesn't take 5 days until we get a yes from the player.
What's interesting with this is that if, as Romano said, that the funds from the Carvalho deal might go to the Zubimendi one, then how do we get Mamardashvili, Patricio? Because then we kind of look at it and think, well, if we really needed the 25 mil or the 20 mil from the Carvalho deal, then how are we going to pay the 75, which we would have to pay for both Zubimendi and Mamardashvili? Yeah, so as Jonathan said, the thing is, we if we're going to sign the Georgian keeper, what it looks like is that we're going to leave him out on loan for at least a season. What I've read is that we are thinking of leaving him on loan up until Allison either leaves or he would become second choice, which I can't really see that happening for really a few good years. So what are your thoughts on this whole goalkeeper thing?
Yeah, 100%. I think Allison definitely has a few more years left in him. He doesn't look like he wants to back down or anything. He still wants to fight for the top spot. He deserves to be a world-class keeper. Obviously, like Jonathan said, it's a good signing. It's good for future proofing. It might even add a bit of competition for, like, say he was to go for a season or two on loan, then come to us, depending on what's going on with Allison. That adds a bit of competition to what happens with the Yaros as well, to fight for that top spot. I would really like to keep Kelleher. I think he's world class as well, and it's a bit upsetting. I understand he wants first team football, and that's understandable. He's got that level in him. He can get a top spot at another club. So it's just a shame it's not with us as well, potentially. So we'll have to see what happens with that, seeing as the Juventus stuff seems all fake. But no, I agree. Good signing. Well, if it happens.
What's interesting is, and my thoughts when I saw the links with the Georgian keeper is that when you look at it that way, 25 million doesn't really look like that big of a transfer fee to pay. So with him, he's just had an amazing Euros. I think he's been one of the best players in those Euros. So if he wants to go to a team and be first choice, I think he can get that pretty easily this summer. So is this offer from Liverpool enough? Will it happen? I know I would be pretty excited for it for us to have him at Liverpool as well. It just I can't really see it happening in a way, because then all these questions that I have, they don't really make sense. So yeah, I can really see that happening. But obviously we're gonna have to wait and see. And regarding Kelleher, one thing that I wanted to mention is, in a way, even though it sounds weird, I think it would be better for Kelleher to get that to being first choice somewhere else, because at Liverpool, if he were to become first choice goalkeeper, after every single match that we would concede in, I think I would read comments with, "Oh, but Allison would have saved that." So it's like we've seen that for the past season, in pretty much every match that he's played in. So that's why I kind of think for Kelleher, for himself, I think it'd be better to get that first choice spot at some other club, mainly because it looks like our fan base will never be satisfied with having Kelleher as number one. But not really fair on him, but that's how I see things, especially at the moment. So Muse, before I'm gonna pin this comment, let us know if you want to guess our next topic. And we're gonna give you a few seconds, because what I wanted to discuss is a bit more, let's say, out of the box. A thing that I've seen on Twitter today. Not necessarily regarding transfers this time, but what I've seen is that in the past season, Liverpool has become the most watched club in the Premier League with a global audience of 471 million. So we can talk shit about FSG as much as we want, but the thing is, ever since they came in, they did develop this club on and off the pitch, haven't they? And that's one thing that I think no one could possibly deny, that we are in a way better position than the one we were in when they came in. So business wise, they've done great. That kind of looks at the kind of also what also hints at that is that we have three people here on stream, and as I said, all three of us are from different countries. So Liverpool does have a global fan base now, which is a great thing to see. We sell the most shirts in the UK as well. So yeah, both domestically and globally as well, Liverpool are definitely well, I just think it's funny how some other clubs can call themselves the biggest ones in England when they have 3 Champions Leagues, but let's not get into that. Yeah, Patricio. So, as I guess you would agree, the biggest club in England and the biggest club in globally, at least for the last season in terms of audiences. So, what does that tell you about Liverpool business-wise?
Just shows how like we're willing to go globally to like push our merchandise. It shows like you see the videos of like how we interact with fans. You see it in like Liverpool with like the murals and how we just celebrate the players and everything. So there's that Japanese YouTuber as well who's like a massive LFC fan, and it spans around the world. Yeah, you see it all the time. Like I was in the Trafford Centre like last week, and you just see so many people in like Liverpool tops. Like yeah, you get a few Man City, Man United, but the majority I saw were like this kid in like a full Liverpool like purple kit. And it's just nice to see, I only follow it because of family members, but who are from Liverpool. But you do see it in like the States and stuff. We're like massive over there as well, and you can see that FSG are helping in that regard. That they're pushing, having us over there and stuff with the preseason matches and stuff. So yeah, I think we got a great following, great club. So.
Yeah, I think. Well, Muse. First thing what I wanted to say, reading all this is what's interesting is that there's a little man who worn 3 of those tops, which I think he's the reason why all those tops are being sold for as much as they get, which is funny. But yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, call me biased because I'm a foreign fan as well, but then it kind of looks, it kind of what it's really beautiful to see the way. I mean, okay, we can complain about modern football for lots of reasons, but I think the fact that we can have a global community right now and have all these communities, no matter the countries that we're from or the continents, and we have people from the States waking up early, we have people from Asia waking up early or late at night to see matches, which I think kind of shows you the way football impacts you no matter where you're from. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing, isn't it? Jonathan, I would want to ask you as well, because I think you could give a good opinion on this as well. It doesn't matter necessarily the country you're from, but when you feel a love for the club, it just gets you, doesn't it?
It does, and it has the biggest official fan base in Norway, and that's for a reason. In Norway, we have our own festival for Liverpool each summer before Community Shield. But yeah, I got baptized in a Liverpool kit. My father has always been a Liverpool fan, and all of my friends are sadly United and Arsenal fans. I love the club either way. If they're doing shit or they're winning trophies, yeah, the owners, we can complain, but would we have the biggest fan base maybe in the world if we didn't have them? No, would our economics been so stable if we didn't have them? No. Uh, I, I I I love my club either way. It doesn't matter how they do, and it's frustrating maybe then and there, but I know 30 years down the line I will still sit in the same kit.
What's interesting is, you sometimes see people, especially if you're a foreigner, if you're, I mean, even if you're from the UK, I guess you have people calling you like a glory hunter, and I'm like, there, no. I remember the Hudson days. I remember those days. So do not call me that, because those have been tough, man. I've seen Liverpool, at that time in the Europa League, which was, I remember, I saw Liverpool drawing against Bucharest in 2011. So that one for me was kind of to kind of it kind of shows you the levels, not to demean obviously any sort of other clubs, but yeah. Oh, indeed. We forgot about one transfer that we were gonna make for, like, what now? Yeah, well, yeah, I'm guessing now it's kind of the time to call people glory hunters, because Liverpool's obviously done really well in the past few seasons, haven't they? So I'm guessing that's the reason. Okay, so with that in mind, we're gonna move to our last topic of the evening, which wasn't Fakir Muse. Disappointed, but he got 2 out of 4, so it's like 50. It's 50%. So we can you can live with that, definitely. It's not Fakir, but it's rather what's actually right there in the title: season expectations. Uh, I've had this conversation on streams a few times this summer, because it kind of the one thing that I always wanted to say is that, for me personally, we need to be, no matter the signings that we have, no matter how exciting the football looks, I think we have to learn to be patient, with our new head coach, because I don't really want to think that, uh, as a fan base, I don't really want us to think that Arne Slot can just come in and, win the league by 10, 15 points from second place. It's likely not going to happen. And the one thing that I would hope for this season is top four, maybe a cup and a good Champions League run. So for me, that's kind of my hopes for the season. Now, obviously, all you'll always want to see Liverpool win the Premier League, which is like the one thing that we all of us, I think, want to see, especially as it happened, once a few seasons back, and no one was in the stadiums there, and it was, it kind of hurt for the city, because no one actually got to experience that when it happened. But as I've said, winning the Prem is probably like I mean, for me at least, is the one thing that I would love to see Liverpool do, and that's the one trophy that's above, any other for us at the moment, because as I've said, we have double the Champions Leagues of anyone else in the country. So that's not necessarily something that we haven't lived before. So, Patricio, is it realistic to hope for anything else above top four?
No, I think top four is a bare minimum. And do you know what? I like the fact that Arne Slot isn't just hasn't got that mindset of just, oh yeah, I'll get top four and that'll be it. He wants to win the title. We weren't. No one's thinking that's going to happen, especially with a new manager coming in. We didn't know how he was going to implement his tactics. We didn't know how the players were going to react to it, which it seems to be going well so far with pre-season. If we'd had this conversation before pre-season, it'd be a bit more difficult to tell. You'd obviously want a minimum of top four, but I think knowing what we've seen, how the players have reacted to it, the tactics, and how they are improving, it does seem, like you said, a sexier bit of football. It seems like well, we're willing to win the ball in the final third and counter. And yes, it is high energy football, but it also is a lot of possession based as well, and I'm actually quite excited for the season. I'm not expecting wonders, and if it happens, if we do win, then that's just mental. If we manage to win the Premier League title, but I think definitely top four as a minimum. Definitely Champions League football, and just to do well in the cups. Get the youth players out there, get them playing, get them minutes, I think that's definitely it.
I guess I'm trouble apparently posting that, opening that mic up. Yeah. So the interesting thing, and the one that I absolutely forgot about, and that I want to remind everyone else, is that we're actually going to have a different Champions League format as well next season. We're not going to play. I think we're going to play 10 games in that group stage thing.
Yes, 10. Yeah.
Isn't it?
So it's going to be
10?
double. Yeah. So it's going to be double the games that we would have usually played in the competition, which is, interesting, because we did talk about us having lots of players in certain positions, which I think will obviously does hurt. So yeah. Yeah, for me, that's kind of the thing. It's you can't really ask a manager, a head coach, to come in and basically win the league, especially in the Premier League in their first season, mainly because it takes some time to kind of learn everyone's best position, to kind of fit everyone in a certain system, to kind of get everyone you want to play in a certain position, because obviously we now see that we would want to make transfers, Zubimendi being one of them, as we've discussed yesterday and today, hinted at a bit. So I think for me, realistically, a manager, a head coach needs 12, 18 months to kind of put a good system in place, to kind of have the cohesion in the squad to challenge for the big trophies. It can definitely happen earlier, but for me, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Jonathan, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this one as well. Challenging for the league would be nice, but can we see that happening?
Leicester won the league. Everything can happen. But, you know, I think top four is a bare minimum. If we are, I honestly think if we are in the same situation we were this year, the season that comes now, I think we can take it, because what it looks like, Arne is more. He don't push the players that much in training. He don't fatigue them like Jurgen did. It looks like he wants more control in the games. And if he is in running, have the 5 points down, I think he's gonna do a Mourinho and almost save. I can see it happening if we're in that situation. Other than that, top four, maybe an FA Cup. Would love to go far in the Champions League, and I'm more than happy as a first season basis. But I want him to take one of the two big trophies in the 4 next years that's coming, either the Champions League or Premier League. That's the minimum, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I think so. I wouldn't want to say anything that I'm not sure about, because I wanted to comment on the Champions League as well. I think it depends on like in which you can qualify in the quarters, sorry, in the around the 16 through different scenarios. I think you can go through some sort of a playoff if you're not in the top 8.
Top eight to go straight round of 16, and from 8 to 20 something, it's a playoff round to get into the round of 16.
Which is amazing, even more games. So it's kind of it just looks like they got their Super League in the end, in another format, I guess, but it looks strikingly similar, I would say. Lots of games, which I don't necessarily think that's good for the players, because we also have the Nations League, and that came out of nowhere in the last few seasons that no one cares about really, but it is the way it is. The thing that Jonathan mentioned that also gets me excited about Arne Slot is the fact that we do look, in the short sample size that we've had up until now, in this format, playing 4-2-3-1, I think with a double pivot, we look like we're controlling the games a bit more, which is also like Arne Slot's philosophy, obviously, because he prefers to have the ball a lot more than Jurgen did, especially at the beginning of his tenure. So for me, I kind of look at that, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But what was extremely frustrating last season was when we kept on conceding the first goal, and then it was obviously hard to come back from that. And then even when we hadn't conceded the first goal, we would concede lots and lots of chances, and we'd leave dangerously up until the last few minutes, which is so yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. One thing that, yeah, I've also highlighted this one earlier, but I haven't addressed it. Indeed, Muse, good catch. We've discussed it off camera before going live, but yeah, I did forget to bring it up live. We have made 9 million from the sale of Solanke to Spurs. 9 million there, 20 million from Carvalho, and it looks like we have half the money needed for a certain DM that we've been discussing. Has everyone checked Twitter? Did we get an exclusive? We didn't, right? It didn't happen. I really hoped for.
No, but apparently we're looking to, from what I've seen off Twitter, we're looking to actually just pay the release clause. Whether no.
I mean, that would be the smart thing to do, wouldn't it? Because like that's
I don't understand why they haven't done it yet. They have said
Yeah.
it for a few days now. If they would have done that straight away, after they might have gotten like, yeah, I would like it, just pay it. Sociedad can't do anything.
Yeah, I think they wanted to potentially negotiate a smaller fee, didn't they? And then there's also the fact on the player side of it where we're waiting for as well. So I think if we've been given the go ahead from the player, if he's kind of made his decision, then I think this will be when Liverpool pushes for it.
Yeah, they've been talking for 2 weeks apparently, so it wouldn't have gotten that long if you just said no, not interested.
Yeah. So with that's so for anyone who's still not haven't read like the newest on Zubimendi, the thing that we know at the moment is that it looks like it's very likely to happen because Liverpool wants the player wants Liverpool as well. Sociedad can't really do that much if we pay the release clause. It will basically be trying to, let's say, appeal to him on an emotional level, but that's pretty much all they can do. Zubimendi wants to play in the Prem. He would get a pretty big wage increase as well. So looking at it, the only thing that's stopping the deal at the moment is that Liverpool wanted to pay in multiple installments, and obviously Sociedad won the release clause paid in pay the money paid at once, which is kind of why it looks like it may not happen. But that's the only thing that's stopping the deal. But I choose to stay optimistic, and hopefully maybe tomorrow, maybe even this evening, who knows, the night's still young, maybe we can get some news tonight as well, or if not tomorrow, then, because if it gets to Monday, then it's a bit tricky.
I think if we just buy out the clause, it's much bigger chance that he comes, because then Sociedad can't really speak to him. We have paid the money. It's up to the player. We have been talking with him for almost 2 weeks now, and the story dropped on Thursday, and he wouldn't have been this tempted and gotten a PowerPoint presentation apparently to stay if he wasn't that close to actually wanting to join. It's just so frustrating now because they said we don't want to be in the way if you want to leave, and they are exactly doing that. He wants to leave, and they just no, please stay.
I think they have to be seen to like want to get him to stay, as obviously his boyhood club and everything. So I can see why they're doing it. Like we would do the same with the Trent. So I see why they're doing it. But if he's smart about it and wants his consistent Champions League football, then it makes sense to come to us. And especially like you said, he's been having talks for 2 weeks. If it wasn't going to happen, then he was going to shut it down really quickly. So I'm like me, I said, I'm quite optimistic.
Okay. So one thing that I wasn't necessarily sure if I wanted to address, but we're gonna slow. Apparently, we have triggered the release clause. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on my phone right now. Hopefully, that. But I think we'll get a lot more comments if that happens. So, yeah, Patricia, go ahead and check it. Jonathan, as long as you both go on your phones. Yeah, good to see. So yeah, one thing that I didn't necessarily want to talk about. So the thing is, I think for me, I think Trent said it best last season when he said that, and other fans, other rival fans can make fun of the comment, but it just means more when you win it for Liverpool, knowing the history behind it, knowing what has happened to the city in, ever since certain events in the past that I think you all know what I'm talking about. It's even socially and financially and stuff like that. Liverpool has never truly, really been part of England, which I think as they've never considered themselves part of England, which is why, I think it's just a bit different, and it's why pretty much no one likes Liverpool in England outside of their own fans. But obviously that's not a thing that we're going to worry with, because as I said, the beautiful thing about football nowadays is that we have global fan base, and we can all kind of exchange opinions between us and have our own little world in which we live in. So thanks to, with that in mind, I didn't even get to say that, but yes, thank you to Patricia, to Jonathan. We're gonna end the stream right here for tonight. We're gonna obviously let everyone go enjoy their evening, and their Zubimendi news, here we go, that's gonna come in 82 minutes on Twitter. We're gonna wait for it. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Thanks to all the comments on YouTube, over on X as well, on Twitter. Thanks to everyone who's been on. Tomorrow 7:30 p.m. UK time to discuss our newest signing, and up until then, up the Reds.